Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning from, if you're looking at North America, 1 p.m. London time, 2 p.m. Continental Europe time. Welcome to Professional Beauty World and our World Spa and Wellness Convention, online convention. We have 6 simultaneous conventions going on at the same time. So if you haven't yet joined us, you need to register at professionalbeauty.world. And you'll have to spend a couple of minutes filling in a couple of questions, but once you do that, you can share any of 6 simultaneous conference sessions. And I'm very pleased to talk about with our esteemed colleagues today on the spa, particularly the European perspective, best practices for Europe. And in no particular order, welcome Becky Woodhouse, the owner of Pure Day Spa, Erica D'Angelo, Director of Wellbeing and Chief Happiness Officer of Vare Spa Borgo Eganza, excuse my pronunciation, Tara Moore, Head of Spa Operations, Galgorm Spa and Golf Resort. Last but not least, the founder and CEO of Gariani, Sami Gariani, and of course my co-host, Jean-Guy de Gabriac, CEO of the World Wellness Weekend, coming up very soon on the 19th and 20th September, with I think about 100 countries represented in over 1,000 spas. So thank you, Jean-Guy. Do you want to say a word or two very briefly before I ask our first question?
Absolutely, gladly. Thank you, so many of you, for joining on professionalbeauty.world. This is where you register. This is where you can ask questions in the chat box. This is where you can meet our panelists after the session in one of the lounges. But also, if you're watching directly from a Professional Beauty Facebook page or YouTube, you can also use that and ask questions. And the PB team will be sending us your questions. So we will go into about 40 minutes of panels with questions. We will be touching on how to cope with the situation and not just survive, but also thrive. We will be touching on marketing and sales action. We'll talk about profitability. We'll talk about menu re-engineering and the future of wellness, of course. And then we will be taking your questions for the Q&A. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you. Our first question, I'm particularly looking about the struggles of reopening. I think a lot of spas have, had their stories to tell. Becky, what were your struggles, and also your staff's?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Well, for a start, we've got 15 spas around the UK and quite a number in Scotland and England. And the guidelines were essentially devolved to the individual countries. So they were all different. So for a start, finding your way around the various regulations for the, area that you were in, that all were different was quite a challenge. I have to say that our staff were actually delighted to be coming back. They were bored on lockdown, really happy. We actually did a strategy of, because we had so many different guidelines, etc., to follow, we actually just let the individual spas come up with their own guidelines, and we just supported them through how they did that. So the teams actually came up with their own safety processes, risk assessments, and I think as a result, because they worked together on a team on it, they were really happy, and that really came across to the clients as well. And we've had a lot of really good feedback. Clients feeling super safe when they come back, the staff are happy. So in that sense, it worked like a dream, but just hope that the government can get their act together a bit better with communicating and, stop changing from a day-to-day basis what they're doing.
How did this start? Because we had that date, didn't we? And then we were pulled back. Particularly with close contact treatment. Was there any particular issues with the staff on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, that was just so frustrating. And, there was a lot of lobbying. I mean, I was literally, emailing on an hourly basis, my MP, my MSP, Boris Johnson, we tried to do a big campaign in the media just to get everywhere open, because you know, in our industry, we obviously were really used to all of the safety guidelines anyway. You know, we're one of the safest industries there is, you know, so we felt really confident. I think we just needed to get that across to the government to allow us to open. You know, and I think pretty much everyone goes above and beyond to make sure that, you know, everyone's safe when they're working, when the clients are coming in. And we've had no issues with that since we've opened whatsoever. So it's been great.
You know, a lot of employers have had different experience with staff, and I gather on AA it's difficult. And you certainly wouldn't want. Did you have any particular challenge with a member of staff that you or your manager that you can share that had to overcome?
Not really. I mean, some staff obviously naturally felt quite fearful of coming back, you know, quite understandably. And I think you've just got to work with the individuals. And we actually took a decision not to have any form of blanket policy on anything, because I think, you know, if anything, it's a very individual you know, kind of reaction, and everyone has their own circumstances. And it might be, you know, that they may be living with someone who's shielding, or they've got their own personal issues that they have to overcome. And I just don't think as a business you can have a blanket policy that covers every scenario. So we've very much taken it on an individual basis, and that seems to have worked well. Yeah.
Thank you. Erica, what was you and your team's experience?
Well, we're based in Italy, so we have been the first ones to go in lockdown, and therefore first ones to have the opportunity to reopen. And I think that the biggest struggle was deciding to reopen, because the guidelines from the government were not so clear. We created a dedicated team to develop all the new standards and procedures around this. So what actually kind of shocked me, I have to say, is the high demand that we got from the very first day of reopening. So even if the amount of guests were less, I immediately had the perception that actually the demand over spa services was high compared to the amount of guests that we had. So because we've taken a lot of care into training and designing all these new hygiene and safety conditions, the hardest work has been after that. But you know, what's difficult is to get something that is in theory on a piece of paper to get it into practice. So I took a leap of faith and said, look, let's open and let's put everything into practice to make sure that everything works. So was to face that, and also to cope with the staff's motivation. So one thing that contributed once we opened to the staff motivation was to see the performance, because performance was very much aligned to last year in proportion to the amount of guests that we had. So because I felt that the human component of the staff motivation would have been crucial to reopening, we really invested a lot of time and effort in, for example, creating a very rich agenda of training content for the entire staff that revolved around well-being and the science of happiness. So not specifically on the reopening, but on how to self-manage and be resilient during this time, and also to keep them, you know, really motivated and felt connected to the company. Then because I'm Chief Happiness Officer, so I like to do really silly things that make people laugh. So we were sharing a lot of silly videos, me dancing with my fish while I was cooking it during lockdown in our WhatsApp groups, and to make them smile and take life lightly. And this brought them really in a very positive attitude once we decided to reopen. So it was a last minute decision. Hey, we're opening tomorrow because we have massages requests. And so everyone was motivated enough by knowing that all the safety measures were in place, and that the positivity was there to actually face this tough time.
Thank you. Tara, can I have your take, please?
Yes, I suppose for us, what we found hard was our staff were so used to being at home, and it was hard actually for them to come back and start working every day. It was very hard on their body as well. They were back to massage again. We were very lucky to be busy when we opened again, and our guests did want to come back. So I think for the therapy team getting used to massaging again, they were very tired at the end of the day. So making sure we were looking after them as well. Also being used to having guests around again was very, very strange, because obviously pre-opening we were back getting the resort ready. So even for our staff to have guests walking about was very strange, and having to wear a mask as well and having that type of barrier wasn't very pleasant, but we have got over that and we're used to that now. Then for a guest perspective, they were coming in, everything has to be booked from their breakfast to their check-in time to their dinner, to their spa access, and before they never had to do that. They could come and go as they pleased. So trying to get them on board to understand the reasons why we're having to do that. But as I say, we've got there eventually. We've had a few things change along the way, and we're just learning all the time, and obviously reacting to the government guidelines, which are changing day by day.
Thank you. Sammy, what's your take? You're on mute, mate. You're on mute.
Sorry.
Sammy, you're on mute. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Yes. First of all, everyone knows that we are in contact with our existing clients since maybe 29 years. Some of them still, and some new ones. What I can say, and we are based in different continents, but I am physically more involved in Europe. That this small invisible thing made the world crazy. Even countries with borders, and now I'm talking generally before I start to talk about our clients. So I think the biggest issue was that no one really knew what the politicians were deciding, and everything last minute. So you don't have enough time. They tell you in 3 days you have to open, but you need to get your staff back. You need to train, and there was a big uncertainty from the politicians to give the clear guidelines. As Erica mentioned, it's not only typical for Italy. And the only thing what I liked, that we are Forbes Travel Guide brand official, and we are almost every week we have a video conference, not me, my team, because I hate to be on video conferences too often. And so they really created a very good guideline, which is valid for the 5-star properties, where it doesn't request any national, it's on top on that. So I think the biggest leak in all this story all over the country. So last week I've been to 6 countries, also in personal as a spa visitor. I love to go to spa. I've never been to spa like I've been in the last couple of weeks, because now I have nothing to do than rather to spend my time there as a guest. And I have to tell that there are so many different, even from one country to another, Belgium, Holland, Germany, Austria, every country takes it different, and everyone makes it at least at a certain point that they think it's right the way they're doing, but it's bizarre because on the opposite side of the border, they think the other way it's right. So let's say everyone, at least what you want to give, if you summarize everything, you want to give the confidence to the client that he feels safe. At the end of the day, if I'm a client, I go to a spa, I wanna be confident. The way you are doing your protocols as a guest, they do not really interest me a lot. Usually when you are at the 5-star properties, when you have a lot of visitors that, you know, you love the property, you trust this branding, you trust, let's say, whatever property that you go, Galgorm or others. So, and because you trust that brand, the way they are doing, you go and you feel well. It's all about feeling well, not feeling, okay, maybe that was this wrong, maybe I will get this. At the end of the day, we are all afraid about getting this invisible thing. This is all about, at the end of the day. And it's we are an industry where we have a touch, and to show that this invisible enemy made things totally illogical. Why the hairdressers open, they cut, and they are like 20 centimeters from my face, even though with shield, but a therapist cannot do facials. So from my contact, I would say all of the clients that have the opportunity open, they're all satisfied, almost all of them. They only struggle because the protocols are sometimes too complicated. They need maybe half an hour to open the windows, to have the air change, because we all know the virus love these closed areas where people are close together. So, and touching things that you have to disinfect. This is why I think the future will be a combination between the regular treatment that you already get, but some touchless treatment. Maybe I can talk about it later on. This is the future.
Thank you, Sami. Jean-Guy, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sami, for talking about safety. And it's true that SOPs, standard operational procedures, have become sterilization operational procedures, sanitization operational procedures. But if safety is first, can wow be second? Sami said, they want to feel safe, they want to feel well. So Tara, how have you preserved the wow factor of the award-winning Galgorm?
Well, yes, obviously sanitization is very important on our list, but when we were closed, we decided to add some more facilities. So we put on a £2 million expansion to the spa whilst we were closed. So it was like, what can we do outside to add to our thermal village that we already have? So we added a lot more outdoor facilities. We've got some new tubs down by the waterfall. We added in a Palm house out in our Serenity Garden with new hot tubs. A beautiful Tality pool, more saunas, a salt cave, plunge pool. So we were like, we're bringing our guests back. We want them to come and feel safe in our resort. They are going to see a lot more cleaning, people walking about. We have a dedicated cleaning team that are doing that constantly. So how do we get them to come in and see past that, but feel safe at the same time? So we thought, we're not going to disturb any guests with the perfect opportunity to do it. So that's why we decided to extend the outside. And then again, we're outside, we're not inside, and those guests could enjoy those facilities whilst they were here.
Indeed, indeed. Vicky, how about you? Big communication plan, I hear.
Yeah, we thought, there were quite a number of changes that we made to our guest journey. One of which was to minimize sort of physical contact. We moved all of our reception to a virtual reception, and in some ways, from the guest point of view, it was a more personal service because the therapist was doing many more of the touch points of the journey and literally, meeting the client from the front door and then escorting them all the way through their experience, which clients actually really took to. And we did a really big education plan. We did a lot of videos, we did some walkthroughs, we did a lot on social around before we opened, like what it's going to feel like when you come in. All of the PPE, we explained it all. We've got a COVID-19 information page on our website that we update regularly. So if clients do want to have that information and they're concerned about what procedures we're following, what the guidelines are, it's all available. We've got all the links to every bit of government website information. So it's all there for them. And I think that's made clients, be aware and confident when they're coming, and also the staff confident in the procedures that we're following when they've opened, and it's been pretty smooth.
Thank you, Becky. We will be diving a little deeper in a minute with Mark about digital and what parts of the businesses are getting more digital. But Sami, interesting point. Everyone's talking about touch points for SOPs, and you're thinking touchless for treatments.
Oh yes. Maybe I start with a small story. I was in Dubai in lockdown 2.5 months, I think, from March until May. And I was stuck on the Palm with my friend's house there. And then you are isolated in a big house alone. You love it. You are on the beach, but you need that touch thing. And I thought there is no point. And I was afraid, because at that, when it was the highest point, you are afraid of talking to people, really. You are afraid to be close. So I thought to myself, what can I do? I took my car, now the secret is coming, and I drove to the Park Hyatt, which is our new operational showroom in Dubai. I don't know if you are familiar, it was about half an hour, 45 minutes. took off my clothes, put the quartz bed on inversion gravity, pushed on the button.
Sammy, wait a second. Remove your clothes. We're with you in the car. We're with you on the Palm. And now you remove your clothes. Please, yeah, moving on.
Yeah. So, and then I put myself on the quartz bed. I push the button, and which does the automatic massage, put it in inversion gravity. And I had a 45-minute touchless massage. And I thought to myself, listen, this is really, to me, it was the opportunity to get a massage without therapist. So, by the way, this is just a small story in between. So we were already developing treatments without having necessarily a therapist, because the main reason was, first of all, a new experience, taking wellness to the next level, bringing more benefits, not only this having just massage and being touched, but having additional benefits like, for example, helping people with PTSD, power napping, sleep disorder, detox, different technology for sure. I don't go into details here. So we brought all this technology into the beds. That means you can lay on the bed and have the treatment without a therapist. So the main reason we developed it was because we didn't find, all the industry said in the US, we don't have enough therapists. We can't find therapists, so it's good. And then you maximize the revenue or the turnover. You can, for example, make a facial. While you make a facial, there's another technology built into the table that gives an additional benefit. Instead of charging $150, euro or whatever, or pounds, suddenly you can charge 250. So there is for sure the money aspect is always the most important thing. But at the end of the day, we sell wellness, we sell experience, and we want to be result driven. And this is, to me, the future. Now with COVID, we've got a lot of demand from all over the world, and even from Australia, from Macau, asking different parts of the world, USA, asking for treatments with light. We are not the only one to have the light treatment. The light therapy, having built-in soul therapy in some treatments where you work on the respiratory system, which is now, we know it's a big issue, having the COVID. When your immune system is weak, this is where you get more problems with the COVID. So we have different technologies to help. And you don't need a medical doctor next to you. So this is a good thing. And to me, this is the future. So forget about only touch massage, which we need it, I need it, you need it, everyone needs it. People need something more, and having treatments. You know that there are about 25% of population of consumers, they don't want to go to the spa because of that touch things. We are not talking about a bigger average, but they do not go. 45% they go, but with mixed feelings. 25%, this is what I call a kamikaze.
You're saying that by having these other options helps people, helps widen your offering. So yeah, thank you, Sammy. Good point. Talking about technology, a lot of our industry, the spa industry, traditionally, with some notable exceptions, hasn't been seen as the most cutting edge when it comes to digital. What have you done that's different or more digital, either in your product offering or your promotion since the lockdown? Tara, can I pick on you first, please?
Yes, certainly. You can pick on me, Mark. So before we opened, then we decided to launch the Galgorm app. So it means all of our guests can download this before they arrive. What this has is all our menus for all our restaurants, our treatment menu on there as well. And we also have a map of the thermal facility, so they know exactly where to go to. What it does, it means they have that before they come and they understand what we offer here, but it also cuts down in paper. And obviously that's massive for us at the moment as the environment. So we're trying to go paperless as much as we can over the whole resort. What we do hopefully over the next few months is we'll add key card into that and pre-check-in. So again, we're getting, we're using that one app for everything.
Has the guest like enjoyed that? Have you had any
They
resistance?
have. They've actually taken, I think nowadays people are used to apps and using apps. We do have a few, obviously, menus sitting there just for the few people that don't, and that's fine. But we find people have been actually, you know, they've been happy to do it and they like it. Everybody carries their phone here, whether we like it or not. So they have the phone there. So rather than printing maps and printing menus all the time, and also helps with cost as well, you know, because you're cutting down on that cost. We also use a hot sauce element as well here. We log all of our pool testing, chemical testing, everything like that, all goes on to this device. Our staff all use devices for that. We are totally paperless with regards to that as well. We also log spa maintenance onto that. Our management team use that as checklist to make sure everything's working. And it's a very quick, you know, if there's, say, a light bulb out, it's straight away fixed. So from the guest perspective, all this maintenance is going on behind the scenes. The medical forms, we did go pre-lockdown, we did have our medical forms on the iPads. We are now able to send that out to our guests before they arrive. So that's all done, and it just stops that process, and we can have more time with the guest rather than sitting completing forms when they get here.
Good. Erica, what have you been up to?
Yeah, well, becoming paperless was already in our sustainability strategy. So basically, we've just given an extra push. And so also because it is part of the requirements of the Italian law. So we are fully paperless and everything has become digital, from brochures to menus to everything. One little thing that basically going online has brought as an opportunity is that I'll give you this example for our very signature happiness break program. Basically, instead of having all that pre-arrival paperwork, it has actually become very experiential. So now guests have one-on-one sessions with our experts to get prepared for the program. So they'll have, instead of having like the nutritional questionnaire, they'll actually have a one-to-one session with our food technologist in order to get them prepared and detox a little before coming to their program, so that they can really make the best out of it. And the same with the personal trainer. They get aligned on the routines to implement before coming. And also we start having also some workshops to understand what's the science of happiness about and how you can start working on your purpose statement, for example, or other aspects that we used to do in paper. And it actually brought a lot of excitement to us because it has a completely different feel. Guests already feel part of our community, because this community is a big thing for us. So they already feel part of our community right from the purchase of their package, because they can start doing the one-to-one sessions as they purchase the package. They don't need to do it like the week before, 2 weeks before. It's absolutely up to them and included in the process. And we're not charging €1 more for that. So this is how we use technology in this sense.
Yeah, very much enhancing the guest experience. Becky, you touched on your digital reception. Any further points that you made digitally?
Yeah, I think, it's been a bit of a learning curve for the teams as well. And obviously, because we have a number of locations, it's quite a diverse geographically team. And so we actually moved. So we had a small call center before we went into lockdown, and we actually expanded it through repurposing our front of house teams who were in Spa to being virtual, but where they were located. So it's meant remote working in a close team live has been challenging at times, but has meant everyone's had to get used to the digital really quickly.
So you didn't actually lose those members of staff, or not? You actually repurposed them. That's interesting.
Yeah, we did a lot of repurposing. That's been my buzzword for the whole time. But it's been nice actually, because it's meant that those staff members have got a much greater appreciation of the larger business. They're looking after, whereas they were only looking after one spa, they're now looking after 15, because they split the work up. But we might have 3 or 4 virtual reception, but they might all be based in different places on each day. So they have to work together as a team. And how do they do that on a digital, with all the clients as well? But we do a lot of, I guess it's just enhanced what we were kind of moving towards before lockdown, but it's just been accelerated into a very short period of time. But I think on the whole, it's gone pretty smoothly. And I think clients have, they like to book online anyway. And, it's just meant that, it's easier for them, that we do all the consultations, the first part of the client journey is online. So they do that with the virtual reception team. So, they get a personal call and, talk through it from a client point of view. And it's touch wood, gone pretty smoothly. And I think something that will definitely continue going forward, for clients like it, staff.
Interestingly, and you've used the digital process to enhance the, if you like, personalization rather than just cut costs. So that's interesting. Thank you. Jean-Guy, over to you.
Thank you. To all of those of you listening on professionalbeauty.world or on YouTube, we are now approaching the second half of our session. So if you haven't sent your questions to our speakers, please do so now. We have lots to discuss, but we would love to also ask them your questions in about 10-15 minutes. We are now diving into marketing and sales because it's even more crucial. I know a lot of spas, day spas, hotel spas, when they reopen, they want to think global and they want to act local. They want to think about the global health, the global beauty budget of their guests. They want to offer journeys, not just treatments a la carte, but and one by one, but programs that guests can really adhere to and come back as often as possible to take care of their immune system, to catch them on a good sleep. So something very restorative. So not just global, but also local, because they want to focus on regular guests. Becky, I know in the UK, and maybe that's because the lobby of food and drinks is extremely active, Eat Out to help out. Your government gave £10 to anyone on any bill to say, go back to your restaurant. And you launched Treat Out to help out. Can you let us know more about this? And then we'll go to Erica.
Yeah, so I mean, the Eat Out, so the Chancellor announced the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, which was basically 50% off meals Monday to Wednesday, but maximum of £10 per person. It was funded by the government. And it was enormously successful. Restaurants were absolutely booked out solid for the whole month of August. And, I guess in our industry, we've struggled all the way through with any support from the government, to be fair, for our industry. And we were doing some brainstorming with the team, about how could we sort of utilize that concept and try and get a bit of a buzz going around our industry. So we came out with Treat Out to Help Out, and we came out with a whole campaign, all the campaign materials, the artwork, and some offers, and we basically just shared it all for nothing with anyone who wanted to join in the campaign. We had hashtag Treat Out to Help Out trending on Instagram and Twitter, and a lot of salons, and we've had such great feedback, and it was really just to help everyone in our industry, because I think we have to help ourselves. We're not getting a lot of support. We didn't get the government help for the promotion, and we didn't get the other thing they did for the hospitality industry in the UK was they did a VAT cut, which we didn't get either. So we haven't had a lot of help, but I think, help ourselves. And one thing that I think has really come across for me in lockdown is how much support we have managed to get around the industry for each other. And I think that's only a positive and a massive encouragement for our industry, that we can actually just say, do you know what, we don't we can do this our own. We can do this on our own, and we can support each other. And that's really, for me, the purpose of doing the Treat Out to Help Out, was just to say, can we get something that has as good, an impact with the UK consumer as Eat Out to Help Out had.
Did you limit it to certain days on your properties?
Yeah, Monday to Wednesday. Yeah,
just like the restaurant. And,
pretty much run like the restaurant.
And could you share some percentages as to how you think it's done, in terms of, did it bring more people in, or did it just displace revenue?
Yeah, no, I think it has. Yeah, I mean, it's early days. So we're doing it in September. So we're only in week 2. So yeah, so no, it's been massively well received. I mean, it's trending on Instagram. There's so many salons that have downloaded the artwork, and they're doing their own offers. So it's just a logo. So we're doing £10 off if you spend over £50 on a treatment Monday to Wednesday. But other salons are doing different offers. They're doing their own offer, or they've just added the Treat Out to Help Out to a promotion they were already doing in September. And I think it's had a real impact, actually. I think we've got a lot of PR. It's in the press at the weekend. So I think, hopefully, it resonates with people. And it was really about just saying to customers, you can come back to your spas as well, come back to your restaurant and your spa,
Thank you very much, Becky. And ladies and gentlemen, although you may know Becky as the founder of Pure Day Spa, but this is one of the reasons why she's so proactive and has received so many awards: Scottish Spa of the Year, Boutique Spa of the Year, Day Spa of the Year, Most Inspiring Salon, Beauty Salon of the Year, and one of my favorites, Employer of the Year. So it's one of the reasons why we wanted all of you present, because you're not just very proactive, you're not just big voices in your and loud voices in your country. You did mention that you were a very active lobbyist for your industry, not just for your spas, Becky.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
But this is also a pleasure to have Erica on the panel, because with Erica, 2018, boom, Black Diamond Award as a spa manager in Europe, and very recently, Spa Star Award. So it's good to have you and to be such a shining star also with all of us. What has been special with Borgo Egnazia, and especially with Casa Egnazia? Please tell us. Let's talk pasta and tomato sauce.
Yes, exactly. So one of the biggest things that I think have had a huge impact in our clients, and not only our existing clients, is the creation of Casa Egnazia. Casa Egnazia is a digital platform. I've talked about it before, and with the aim of bringing a piece of Puglia in our guests' homes. And all the staff was involved in this, and everyone was showing what they were passionate about and contributing to our guests' happiness in some way. And that's still going on. And one of the ideas that came out from this was to physically send a package of pasta and tomato sauce with our chef's special recipe. And so the feedback that we got from that was amazing. Guests were so surprised. It was just a little something, but to receive a gift like this that felt so authentic, provided like very high enthusiasm. And I think that this was one of the things that made a lot of people return to Borgo Egnazia. And as Sami was saying before, most of our guests expected us to be compliant with all the regulations and so on. One of the things that we've done also was to be one of the first to reopen in Italy. And even with no certainty, they've given us the authorization to open, and we just reopened. And this for us has been such a strong social message that actually had an impact on our Italian clients. Italian clients were already a lot, but this year were most of them. And because we have been the first, we've showed best practices around how to manage the reopening situation and give a lot of sense of security to our guests. So yeah.
Thank you. Moving on to Tara, and especially Galgorm, very, very special Galgorm. Some people say, yeah, four-star Galgorm. excuse me, Ireland's 4-star resort, Hotel of the Year, Ireland 4-star resorts, for spa, for weddings, for the restaurants, for the team. There you are. What have you been thinking of during this time to continue to boost marketing and sales? Because you've been so active over the past few years. And I remember as one of the members of the jury for the World Spa and Wellness Awards every year, we're looking forward to you entering to tell us what you did on social media, marketing and stuff. So please let us know about your safe haven.
Yeah, so prior to opening, we decided to launch your Safe Haven marketing campaign. And what we wanted to do was instill, obviously, our guests to come with confidence that what we were doing in the resort, they would feel comfortable with. We also wanted them to come and enjoy their experience. So we didn't want them to come somewhere that they couldn't relax and enjoy whilst here. So we thought we'd put out the campaign before they come. They know exactly what they're coming to whenever they arrive. And what it did as well, we got base bookings then from that before we opened. So people could see exactly what we were doing before we got the go ahead to open. It also consisted of our hygiene commitment, which detailed the measures that we've put in place. From your checking in, what we did in your rooms, about your rooms being sealed after they've been cleaned, etc. So they knew when they came here that they would feel safe in the environment that they were here. So we did also film our guest journey. So again, our guests could see from the moment they arrived what to expect, so they could see for themselves what they were coming to stay. What did check-in look like now? How would our staff look? What way would the spa be whenever they come down to use the spa? We had to ensure that they knew that we were taking massive steps to ensure social distancing was in place, and for them to be able to see that prior to arrival, certainly I feel was the right thing for us to do in the resort.
Tara, I'm going to stick with you if you don't mind. I've asked a separate question to the panel, but have you reduced your spa menu? And what treatments are you focusing on what is becoming the best sellers? Has that changed at all?
So yes, we've reduced our menu by about 50%, and I totally understand where Becky comes from, because all the different areas are advised different ways to run their businesses. So it's very hard, as I say, England and Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland all write their own policies. So it was like, what can we do and what are we allowed to do, which was a very grey area, I have to say. So most of our all of our treatments will be opened were based on massage, so it was all massage focused. So how could we do that and do it very differently? Facials weren't allowed, so we invested in Dermalux LED flex lights so that we could add them into our signature treatments. And it was like a no-touch facial then, so our guests would come down with their skin already prepared from their room, but it meant then they were getting some type of facial treatment whilst they were here. We've recently launched our facials. We've opened up our skin clinic. We do have the Guarini bed, so we have their Plexi Shield, which is fantastic. Thank you, Sammy, which is fantastic. It means our guests feel safe, as do our staff, and more so than ever, our guests want facials because they're wearing face masks all the time. They're having issues with their skin, so it's like a breath of fresh air now that they can actually come here and have the facial whilst they're here.
Thank you, Erica. Have you changed your spa menu? Have you reduced it?
Oh yeah, big time. We started off with probably only 10% of our spa menu, because the demand was not sufficient to economically sustain the opening of the spa. So we started off with a dedicated in-room spa menu, because we also decided to only open the villas. We have 18 villas in order to ensure 100% all the safety conditions. So the villas have amazing settings. So we were organizing either single or couples massages that didn't require special equipment or anything. And we could still deliver experience in that way. We opened on June 13th, and we still had to open the spa partially. So we didn't reopen it entirely. And also we had very weird regulations, I have to say, around saunas and steam baths and so on. So all our facilities had to have a new type of service menu. So because we truly believe in all the scientifically proven effects of saunas and hydrotherapies, we really supported and guided our guests in the safest, but at the same time, and the most beneficial experiences to recover from lockdown effect and also to reinforce their immune system. So we created these family and couples private experience within the facilities in order to make sure we're able to use them. But yeah, so in the beginning we did reduce, I mean, it was just really a tiny bit of our spa menu. Now we're back to offer everything again, but we had to modify the way we would offer it. And I have to say it brought a lot of new opportunities, because we started having a new perspective on how we can be creative with the services that we offer already. So yes, we did.
Thank you. Becky?
We took the approach that we wanted to open as much as possible with as many of the services that we offer as possible. So we, obviously, we have to operate within the guidelines, and the guidelines are there to keep everyone safe. And, I'm very confident that we are doing that. We have basically sort of adapted where we can the treatment. So we offer our full menu, but with some adaptations, in order to make sure that they are, being done safely and within the guidelines. Personally, I think, the virus is going to be here for a while, and we have to get on with it, and we just have to get going. And, that's very much been our focus, is just to try and get back to some kind of normality as quickly as possible, whilst also making sure that everyone's safe, which is obviously the number one priority.
Have you noticed, though, that clients are demanding different things since they're back? I know it's difficult because some of your properties haven't been back necessarily so long, but have you noticed different trends, different demands are you reflecting that?
Yeah, I mean, I think massage is super popular. I think everyone was so missing their massage, and I also wonder as well if it's just they were missing the personal touch, the close contact, because we're a close contact, and then everyone's socially distanced from everybody. It's actually, I think this, in some ways, a lot of clients are coming back because they just, they're just missing some, human touch in their lives, which obviously is the whole purpose of our existence. So, yeah, I mean, I think massage and manicures and pedicures, which I think maybe people are just, I know myself, I spent probably the first 4 months, it's probably been the longest I've ever gone without wearing makeup in my life, and then, now I'm back to work, it's like, oh, well, back to normal, back with the full face on, and get my nails done or whatever. And I think people...
So people like the basics and the massage?
Yeah, I think people want to get back to a bit of normality now.
I absolutely. Jean-Guy, thank you. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Mark. We're approaching close to the end of this session, so I'd like to dive right into profitability. Let's speak numbers. The one thing I love about the World Spa and Wellness Conventions is that we touch on similar topics with movers and shakers from around the world. And last May, when we had our online conference, we did have a panel with several key operators in Europe. Julien Paty, for instance, from the CEO and founder of Deep Nature, George Tavelis, GM of Sanctum Fitness and Spa in Limassol, Cyprus, and also the president of the Cyprus Spa Association, Stavros Mavridis, Spiros Gaitanidis. And we did touch on the cost of those extra safety measures. When we asked them, roughly, they all said that if they were to give a kit to every single guest coming in to reassure them that everything is safe, and a personal kit with a hand sanitizer, a facial mask, and possibly a card explaining how things work now, single use, it would cost between 2 and 3 euros per customer. The PPE with the face mask, maybe the face shield, the disposable gloves, the apron, about 7 euros per staff per day. The additional time, 20 to 30 minutes. I hear that now staff are getting better and now the turnaround is only 15 minutes, but by the time we were thinking of procedures being so long, so 20 to 30 minutes turnover would add in France about 300 euros per day per treatment room, while in Cyprus it would be roughly about 200 euros per day per treatment room, maybe because prices are higher for labor in France than it is in Cyprus. And also George and Stavros and Spiros also said that for the summer they were thinking of testing their staff every 2 weeks for COVID, which would add another 120 euros per staff every 2 weeks. Have you made the math, Becky, about how much this COVID-19 safety measures are costing to all of your spas? And then Tara and Erica, and also a question to you, Sammy, on this. Becky?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with those figures. I mean, you know, I think as well the laundry costs, you know, swapping out and the sanitization. Now, we prior to lockdown, in the way we operated our business, we actually allowed quite a lot of time between appointments anyway within our pricing and within our menu structure and how we booked our appointments in. So we've not actually had to change that, although we have had to adapt how we use that time, you know, so it's for different things now. Doing our consultations online, whereas we were doing them in the room before the treatment, has allowed us to take some of that time back to use for the whole sanitization and room turnaround. So in terms of what I didn't want to do actually was have to do a price increase. So we're trying to manage that within, you know, our existing pricing structure. I think it's under constant review. You know, we're going to have to kind of see how it goes. Some treatments, it has made them less profitable for sure. You know, and we'll have to work through and see how long we can keep that going for. But you know, I do think that you have to pass on some of that cost. It's, you know, we can't all bear that full cost.
Have you started doing that already?
Well, only because we had the time already available within our treatment menus and the way we structured. So I think in some sense we were quite lucky from that. But I think, you know, I would anticipate in the next 6 months we'll probably do a price increase.
Thank you for your honesty, Becky. Erica, 60 seconds. I know you love elaborating and discussing and the why and the how.
No, keep it short and simple. Also, because I totally agree with the numbers and what you guys have been saying. Personally, you know, we worked on cutting down purchases to the minimum that we needed without compromising quality or compromising service. We did some training on more than we used to do before to boost retail sales, because that's a good aspect to improve profitability, and of course to stimulate upselling to more profitable treatments. We did increase awareness by sharing what the impact of these difficulties are on a business level with everyone, more than I used to share before. And I personally hate waste. So I personally checked that there is no waste going around and that everything is not used in an excessive way. So kept it really to the essential.
Thank you, Tara, and then Sammy, and then wrap-up question from Mark.
It's very similar to Erica, you know, making sure our therapists aren't overusing products, keeping waste to a minimum, also reevaluating our product houses and all of our suppliers as well. I think we get very stuck with using the same suppliers for a lot of our consumables, etc. And sometimes you can just have a look around, you know, with chemicals, that type of thing, and try and cut costs, obviously without compromising the guest experience. But there's definitely small ways that you can do that. We have put a slight increase on our treatments and our resort as a whole. However, it's a very fine line that you don't increase those prices too much to put people off coming back, but we do have to try and recoup some of the expenses that we've went into, because, you know, the equipment that we've used for the cleaning or ozone or air fog, etc., you know, that's been a huge cost, but it's something that's going to be here to stay. We can see us using it now going forward anyway, so it is a slight investment anyway of some sort to the resort, not one that we predicted, but yes, we will continue to use that going forward.
Thank you, Tara. Sammy?
Yes, so I'm not a spa operator, but as I said, I am a personal. I love to go to spas in my private time. But as a manufacturer of spa equipment with 200 employees, I can tell that we have to buy a lot of products, the masks that we give to clients sometimes. I mean, obviously there are extra costs. Yeah, we can be a little try to save money to make it less than just throw it away every time. But if I think about spas, I think it's a good opportunity to recheck a little the menu you have. And if you, my idea, and I saw it also a couple of times, when you sell a package that can include some hidden costs, if you change the package smartly, and I'm not running a spa, but I see it in a way that at the end of the day, you give an apple for free, but in the price of the apple, I mean, if you sell a detox package, which includes a little food, a little treatment, and you add something inside, I'm sure you will add this 10 euro inside somehow. So I think there are smart ways, and it's a good opportunity to look behind the stones. There are all new options and really new possibilities for the future. This is what I discovered in my company. This COVID things makes me rediscover my own company with other eyes, and I discovered a lot of things that I'm spending money not really in a proper way. So I think it's a good opportunity to recheck and put it in a way that at the end of the day we all want to win money.
Good point. Last question. If you don't mind, Tara, I'm going to ask you first, only because you've answered so well. Not that implies I've got in trouble now. It implies everybody hasn't answered so well, but which you all have. What is the one thing you would, if you were talking to other spa operators here tuning in, what's the one piece of advice you've learned, one thing you've learned from this mess that we've experienced?
Certainly as a mess.
One piece of advice, one experience that you want to share, I'd say, good or bad.
I would say just take it day by day, because it changes every day. You could have a full plan in place for the next 3 months, and the next day something will happen which will completely change it. And we have certainly seen that in the resort. You know, we've all these big plans in place, and all of a sudden we have to regroup again and change everything that we've just put in place. So just try and get through each day, and hopefully we'll get to the other side of it, and we'll be in 2021 and maybe a wee bit happier. So keep going, keep smiling.
Erica.
Yeah, well, what I would say is that this situation has been a true accelerator for the wellness industry. People now consider less is more, focusing on what is really essential, quality time with family, and prioritize well-being over everything. So focus on flexibility, get your mind creative, think out of the box, but wellness is the way to go, especially after COVID.
Thank you. Becky?
I think resilience would be one of my buzzwords. You know, I think it's been such a roller coaster having to close down the business and then reopening. I think reopening is always harder than closing. However, you know, actually, we're opening new spas. I opened a brand new spa last week that I had planned before lockdown. You know, the hotel still wanted to go for it. We went for it. You know, it opened last week. It's busy. So,
Where was that?
you know,
Where is that? Sorry.
it's in Lytham St Anne's, which is near Blackpool. So, which has actually been a really busy part of the country because everyone's on sort of staycation. You know, they're kind of holidaying in the UK because they can't go anywhere else. So, you know, it's actually been really good. And I think just trying to get everything back to normal, you know, and use this time between now and the end of furlough, which is obviously, you know, I know it's different in different countries, but in the UK, furlough is ending at the end of October. You know,
Furlough is Kurzarbeit for the Germans, or where the government helps with employers with their wages, which is finishing in the UK in October.
Yeah.
And it's been cut back dramatically since September anyway in terms of costs. Sorry, Becky, for
Yeah, and but really our focus is just getting back to normality before the end of October, and you know that's our focus now. And you know, and I think what Tara said about just keep going every day, you know, and you know it is challenging, but you know you just got to keep going.
Thank you, Sammy. Last word. You're on mute, Sammy. You're on mute.
I said I loved everyone's comment because I have no other words to add. The only thing I really say, it's a new opportunity for everyone. It's the old world with new parameters, and we all want wellness. I was so afraid that the wellness is gone, and now I'm even more happy that it's 10 times more important for everyone. And this is the future of our industry. We have to be only think positive, because we know we will have the professional beauty in London happening and we'll be glad hugging each other. This is something you cannot replace, not with a computer, not with technology. That's my last one.
That's very kind of you say. I think, yes, we've got a lot of challenges to come through, but I think what you've all said is once we're through it, there'll be even greater demand for wellness and spa treatments. We've already run out of time. Becky Woodhouse, Erica D'Angelo, Tara Moore, Sammy Gariani Group, thank you so much for your support. You always support us. You're really very kind. We appreciate it and support the industry. And of course, my co-host, chair of World Wellness Weekend, Jean-Guy de Gabriac. Thank you, Jean-Guy, for putting so much effort into all the panels.
Cheers, Mark.
We will see you all on professionalbeauty.world. There's lots of sessions to come. We close at 2000 tonight, UK time. 2100 continental Europe time. See you all soon. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Keep safe, keep well.
Thank you. You too.